What's up, y'all? Sparta here. So, what I want to do with this video is I want to do a bit of a review of the Beats Pro Wireless 3. These are the limited edition black and gold versions. Really nice looking and stuff like that. But that pretty much every pair of Beats looks nice. That's why people get them. But me, I don't. I get them for, to see. I got them just to see how they sounded. And these retail for $200, and they have active noise cancellation. It says it has 12 hours of playback and stuff like that. And from my testing, and I've been using these for like a couple weeks, I would say it's more like eight, maybe like 8 to maybe like 10, which is still good. And that's with noise cancellation on. I never turned it off, so that's what noise canceling on. So if you turn it off, it may get like 12 hours of playback, but it's not with noise cancellation on. Like I just said, active noise cancellation. So let me run through this. Now, typically, since Apple owns Beats, these have the A1 chip in it. I think it is. I think that's what it's called. And basically, when you power them on, it'll quickly connect to an Apple device. But these are also Bluetooth. So, one, let me turn my screen down, and two, let me turn these on. So when you pair them and you do that, this menu comes up. And I'm going to just turn autofocus on. If I could. There we go. Turn autofocus on. Note 10 here. And you can turn them off or you can turn them on. And it's a very weird experience having active noise cancellation always on. If you don't have them on, even at say 65% volume, you could hear everything around you. And with noise cancellation on, you could still a little bit hear, you could kind of still hear stuff around you, but it's not horrendous. It's not distracting from the experience. So yeah. And obviously it comes with a 3.5 millimeter cord and stuff like that, so you can plug it into your phone. If you have, say, an LG V60, I honestly wouldn't advise you to do that. The V60 overpowers these, horrendously overpowers these. I would honestly fear these blowing out. If you put them at max volume anyway, I'd say have it at 50% volume and you'll totally be fine. But once these, are depleted of battery and stuff like that, you could just plug in the 3.5 millimeter, plug it into your phone, and then you could just use them as regular headphones. So let's talk about the sound. Oh, and obviously, before I do that, let me talk about the navigation buttons. If I can find it. Make sure it doesn't play anything. So this button is your play pause button. I believe you press and hold it, you can get Google Assistant, though it's been kind of finicky. Okay, it does do it.
Sorry, I don't understand.
But yeah, you can do that. Google Assistant. You tap it, play pause. You double tap it, you rewind. I think you triple tap it and you go forward. Volume down, volume up. And it controls the device's volume. It doesn't have its own separate volume. Micro USB. So no USB-C, but these do charge really fast as well. Charge it for I think it said 5 minutes. You get 5 hours of use or something like that. And that's pretty nice. But yeah, that's the navigation and stuff like that. Let's talk about the sound. These are not good for music. They really aren't. Going from hip hop to say Metallica or Halls and Oates and stuff like that, or even why do I keep forgetting the name? Black Sabbath, like Sweet Leaf in particular. A lot of stuff sounds muddied. Like everything sounds drugged through mud. And the freaking say you go to like say a hip hop track with a lot of bass. Let me bring one up. You go to a hip hop track with a lot of bass. Say, where is it at? Ballad of the, come on, note, focus. Ballad of the Bass by Big Crit. Typically, he has quite a detailed voice in a lot of his tracks and stuff like that. Music, he sounds very like tinny, not tinny, but like you can hear the distortion. You seem to add some distortion to a lot of like vocals and stuff like that, even when you're not listening to stuff that's like, say, singing. If it's just like rapping, and like another like Tech Nine, same deal. His vocals will sound very like distorted and like all his S's sound very sharp and not detailed at all. A lot of bass on these, which is kind of a beat staple, right? But to me, when you compare him to something like, my bad, this was out of focus, but when you compare it to something like Short Tapes, for example, when you compare it to something like these blow these out of the water in terms of everything detail, bass, just overall sound. These sound way better. And they do a way better job at keeping shit silent, but not overpowering your ears. That's something that the tapes do way better than what these do. And these are cans. These are, Bluetooth cans, over the ear headphones. So that doesn't really make sense to me. And don't you dare get me started comparing them to actual monitors, right? To actual Sennheiser HD 650s or 6XX, whatever you want to call them, right? These are the mass drop versions, so 6XX. These obviously will just destroy them. Unless you really want a lot of bass. And say if you're just soundtracking your life or something like that, you don't necessarily want the most detailed stuff. That's mainly why I got these, right? It's like maybe you just don't want the most detailed experience 24/7, right? Or every time you go out and you just don't want to hear anything. Maybe you don't want the most detailed experience. And so what I would do is I would walk from, say, my apartment out in Chaska to Target, which is maybe like a 30-40 minute walk, and I would have these on. And I didn't listen to music, I was listening to podcasts. And I say for podcasts, these honestly are fine. Like they're good. But compared to what I've been using as my dailies, my LG Tone Studios, the Tone Studios also blow these out of the water in terms of like lack of distortion, volume, like battery life as well. Like there's a lot of stuff that the Tone Studios do better in terms of like even listening to music. The Tone Studios are better because one, they're dual driver, and two, they don't just prioritize bass, and that's something that I feel Beats have always had a problem with for me. Is that okay? I know Beats do this, so let me just try these and see if these are good, right? See if these are decent. That's what I said when I got these, and they sound worse than like beats I like listened to back in like 2012, and it's weird because they're just not that great in my opinion. Like you can hear stuff like say audio crosstalk, like certain sounds fading from one ear to the other. You can hear that. You can hear a lot of like you say one thing is playing out of this ear, another's playing out of this ear. You can hear that just fine. But the problem is these feel devoid of life. Like they feel very basic. in terms of their sound. And I looked up reviews of this, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, these aren't that great. And I was like, I'll see myself. And they were kind of correct. They were like, I didn't read any, I just looked at like basic reviews saying like maybe 6 out of 10 and stuff like that. And they mainly gave them sixes because of battery life and like active noise cancellation. The active noise cancellation is really good, but the problem is, say if you're on a bus or something like that, you can feel the microphones trying to accommodate for that. God, the note just does not want to stay focused, and it's kind of distracting, and it kind of feels like the driver's about to pop out of the freaking headphone. But it's not like I said. But in terms of like walking and stuff like that, walking to like a place and putting them on, it did. My head did get sweaty, my ears did get sweaty, but the pads themselves weren't like damp or anything like that. The inside of the pad wasn't like wet or anything like that. It was very it was still pretty dry. And the headband is pretty comfortable. It's made out of this like plush material. It feels very good, very premium. But at the end of the day, this is a plastic band. So I do fear if you do have a bigger head, flexing it, I would not try and flex this. It would snap. Like, they feel nice, right? They look nice and all that stuff. But to me, and to a lot of people, why Beats have such this bad rap in the more like dedicated audio community is that it's just like they don't try at all to give you a decent sound. They just give you sound. That's all they give you. It's like you put the cheapest like car speakers into your car. That's what it sounds like. Like you just go with the onboard sound on your car. And you don't customize it at all. That's what it would be like, right? These are $200 Bluetooth headphones that sound like $60 Bluetooth headphones I got in like 2014, 2016. That's what these sound like to me. And that's not good. Beats used to have Dre as as like the selling point, right? Oh, Dr. Dre, Beats by Dre is in the name, right? So that means he's have to be good. He says he mixes on, damn well he didn't mix on these. He definitely would not mix on these. He mixes on some Sony's or something like that. Not no consumer grade headphone. Like, I'm sorry, he just doesn't. That just doesn't make sense to me. And they pretty much lived off that since then. And now that they're owned by Apple, it's just an Apple product now, so it has to be good. That's basically what it is. But what would I advise you to do with this, right? Honestly, I would honestly say get like say a TRN V90, which is like $50, and get like a Bluetooth adapter for it. And it'll just wrap around your ear and you can charge it like that and you'll get very quality sound out of that. These also don't have any sort of advanced audio codec, Bluetooth codecs. It's just AAC. So that's another thing with Android is that you don't get any of those benefits either. And that's another thing why I compared it to my Tone Studios is that the Tone Studios also don't have any like advanced codecs except for I think aptX. And it's just it's just mind blowing that those just make these sound like ass, and they're like this. They were the same price point when they came out, 200. So it's just crazy to me. But yeah, I would advise you just to get like a $60 pair of like IEMs and just get a Bluetooth receiver, which will have Bluetooth 5, aptX HD, all those codecs, and you'll use them like that. And it's honestly the better deal to me. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say with this. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday, whatever time of day it is in your area. Have a good one.